Hello, everybody. I'm Bill Sanders, and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Today, what I want to talk about are three tiers. These are for the sort of the more economical watches, the middle tier, and then the upper tier. And the three I'm going to look at today on the affordable tier, there are Longines. In the middle is Jaeger-LeCoultre. Now, a lot of people might say, wait a minute, Jaeger-LeCoultre in the middle? Well, actually, Jaeger-LeCoultre sort of has sort of two tiers. It's two big tiers. One is sort of in the middle and one is very high. So we're going to look at the middle part of that. Now, finally, we're going to look at a German watch company, one of my favorite. And this is Lange & Heyn. And we'll talk about that. These are magnificent watches. So let's get started. Now, the first one is Longines Hydro Conquest, which is basic diver when you do desk diving for the most part. It's a nice watch, solid looking. It's got a funny, it's got the silicone hairspring, which is something I'm not crazy about, but that's me. And one thing that people who have this kind of watch, or anyone with a silicone hairspring, they're not going to have to worry about it getting magnetized. But anyhow, so this is the $1,700. This is sort of the entry level, and I like this watch. I like the looks of it, and just sort of a good everyday kind of sports watch. Now this next one is one the Longines Spirit Zulu Time. There's another watch project that I am working on, I guess, and we were going to call the watch Zulu Time. And then this one came out, and it's sort of like, oh, thanks, guys. Anyway, first of all, what is Zulu time? Zulu time is a timing that's used by pilots, and it is the GMT time. So that if no matter where in the world I am, whether I'm in New York or Paris or Beijing or you name it, the same time thing goes back to the GMT time, or what they call Zulu time. So anyway, it's sort of a cool thing to have, especially if you're a pilot or simply want a dual time zone watch. It's got an ETA. This is funny. The name of the calibers, they have most Longines calibers start with an L. So this one is L844.4. It's based on an ETA A31L01, and then that's based on an ETA 2892A2. Very common, very reliable. But this one, they also put that silicone hairspring in. And to me, like I said, not something I'm crazy about. I like the looks of this watch, the functionality of it. About $3,000, not cheap, but not crazy expensive like a lot of the watches that watch collectors like. Now, the next one, this one, is Longines Masters Collection. What they did is that they tied this in with the Masters of the Universe, I think. And they had Doctor Strange there, the guy who played him, who is an actor I like a lot. And but essentially what we're talking about here is a multifunctional watch. Now this one is $36.75 for all of the things that it does. It's pretty good. It's got a hand date, a moon phase, a chronograph. It's got everything. And they don't mention a silicone hairspring in this one, so I like it even better. It's a column wheel chronograph. And this is, since it's owned by Swatch, probably based on the Valjoux ETA 7750 or 7751. It's called caliber L687, which is does have your 7751 base. 4 hertz, power reserve about 66 hours. This is a real nice watch. It's with the column wheel chronograph and all of the other things on it. It's got a lot of information on there. I don't know why, but I really like the way the subdials clip the 10 and the 8 and the 7 and the 11 even, and the 5. It's just sort of a watch set. Look at them. It's got the 31 days of the month, and then you got the little cup of a hand date going around that tell you what the day is. I love hand dates. Okay, now moving along, now we're going up to the next tier, and this is Jaeger-LeCoultre, and one of the most famous watches. In fact, in many respects, this is the original sports watch. It was designed for polo players in India. The British Army had this guy who was some guy who played polo over there and loved Jaeger-LeCoultres. And so he asked him if they could make a watch that he could play polo in. And what they have on this, you open it up, flip it over, and then the back is solid steel. And then when you put your polo pony away, you flip it back, and it's solid. Now, some of these are called, I think, a dual time or something like that. And you flip it open, there's another, you can use it like a second time zone. But this one, the basic one, is called the Reverso Classic. Now, they call it a monoface, and they used to have 3 that they referred to, the small, medium, and large, and the or grande or something like that. This is the medium one, caliber 822, 3 hertz, which I like. Hand wound, it's got everything about it I like. And you can see the movement. This is a beautiful little movement. It's a shape movement for that watch. All of this, everything that Jaeger-LeCoultre does is what they refer to as in-house. Well, one of the reasons is that Jaeger-LeCoultre started as a movement maker, and then later on decided, well, let's make watches too. Now, this next one is the Polaris automatic. It's got an automatic movement in it, $7,400 for stainless steel. The caliber 898, 4 hertz, nothing exciting about that. Hour, minute, rotating rehaut, and seconds. The rehaut is inside. You can turn the thing around using one of the pushers, and you can set different timing with that. Interesting kind of watch on the Polaris. And you could flip it over, and you got your automatic, your rotor there for you. Now, this is the entry level. Some of the more expensive automatics by Jaeger-LeCoultre, they have a gold rotor. All right, $7,400. Now, this next one is not the highest price they have, but it's sort of the top of the medium. I'll put it that way. This is the Master Control chronograph calendar. Maybe this was the one that they had the Masters of the Universe for. It was one of the Masters they had. And maybe, it could have been this one. This has got a caliber 759 in it, 4 hertz, and it's a lot of functions: time, chronograph, full calendar with moon phase, automatic, 65 hours. You crank it up and wear it around 65 hours. For those who like everything on their watch, or at least a lot of everything, this watch is really something. That it has a hand date, but it's part of the 6 o'clock where they have the moon phase. And then they have the 2 subdials for the chronograph. They have the day month, not the day date, but the day month, and right at just below the 12 o'clock there. And then it's got pushers. And this got another little pusher you can't see too well over at around 7 or 8 o'clock, one of the other functions that it picks up. Now, finally, we come to the top level. And I'm going to talk about a watch that's a new one. Now, let me say something about Lang and Heyn. Lang and Heyn was started by a guy named Marco Lang. The guy, Heyn, they were together for about a year, and then Heyn decided to go back up to, I think it was Glashütte. went up there for work. I think he went to work for A. Longer or someone, but anyway, when we talk about Lang and Heyn, it's really Lang, and I think he wanted to leave the and Heym on there and on Heyn, so it wouldn't be confused with Alonga and Unsunda. So this watch has got sort of a story. This is sort of the first, we'll call, full watch that's come out of Lang and Heyn ever since Marco Lang left in 2018. But the movement, which is a UWD 33.2, was really designed and built originally as a little different one with it had a subdial instead of using a center seconds. And it was called a 33.1. And UWD and Lang and Heyn are sort of pretty much together, the same. I think they have the same owners and everything. And so they decided they're gonna make a watch. The new owners of it said, we're gonna make a watch. We're gonna take the UWD 33.1, put a center second in, and switch it over to the 33.2, and then put it in a watch. And what they needed and they wanted was something a little more affordable. We'll see why in a second. And this is 16,900 Swiss euro, including VAT. Now, usually if you take off the VAT and just turn it into dollars, you're pretty close. So this is around $17,000, with the variations and the changes and everything and the values of money, that changes a lot. But I think this is a really good introduction to really high-level horology. High horology, there's high horology, there's high-level horology, and high-level horology is where you got some really very interesting movement. This one's 3 hertz, 21,600 semi-oscillation per hour, 46 hours, and it's hand wound. So kudos to the new guys at Lang and Heyn. Even though they used basically what was essentially a Marco Lang movement that was fixed up, they still have done something I think worthwhile. Now, all of the rest of the watches, other than the Hector, the Lang and Heyn Hector, were originally made by Marco Lang, and they're gems, every one of them. And so we're going to look at a couple of them. The first one, this used to be the entry level at the $27,500. They're not cheap. They're wonderful watches. I have this one's called the Frederick III, and the Frederick II is exactly the same except it's in Arabic numbers. That's the one I have. Most of the ones they have. Just like all of these really top-notch watchmakers tend to use a lower frequency, like around 18,000 or anything below 4,000, I'll put it that way. Now, this movement, the caliber 6, is used in both the Frederick II and the Frederick III. Just sort of think Arabic numbers, Roman numerals. That's to clarify it. And I tell you, most owners will spend more time looking at the movement than they will the front of the watch, even though the dials are really done very well. What they have is that they have something called a trigonal bridge, and all of the wheel train, the escapement are on this trigonal bridge. Now, what that does, it really opens it up, and so you can see a lot of the movement. And then on top, this was described as an old German tradition. There is a diamond, not a man-made diamond, but one that they dug out of a mine that caps the balance shaft. And as you can see, there's a, what they call a swan neck regulator that they have for fine adjustments and so forth. But this is just a totally gorgeous watch. Love the thing. Now, this next watch is one that so many people have and myself included, have loved this one. Caliber 8, again, 18,000 VPH, SO/H. The thing about this watch, I think for most people, is that, again, the back of it. If the You can see that the wheel train they have these three little finger bridges that go out for each one of the gears, and then there's I guess it would be called, some people call the Batman bridge over where the balance is, and then there's a big diamond in that one. Now this one is a free sprung, so you're not going to have the regulator in there for it. But I know more people, they just love this watch, and I'm one of them. This one is $45,500. Now they have one called the Anton that is essentially a tourbillon version of this, and gorgeous. It's 86,000 euro. So these things, it's a really top-notch watch, but this is such a gorgeous watch. Now, finally, this is the final one I want to talk about. And probably if I had more money than I knew what to do with, this is one I'd probably buy. This one has a remontoire. What a remontoire is, the secondary sort of rewinds, and so in order to have a constant force. This one has a second remontoire, intermediate winding every second, so it rewinds itself every second, and then the force it has to move things along is constant. And there's a big mainspring that sort of pushes the power to rewind a littler one that then moves everything along. It's got deadbeat center seconds, which means these are jumping seconds, and date indication. Then they have what's called an up-down power reserve indication right below the 12 o'clock. It says A, B, and auf. And then, of course, there's one of my favorite, again, is the hand date. And you can see the movement, just beautiful. And it too has a trigonal bridge. And so you can see the gorgeous movement, $74,100. It's got a countersunk pusher on the side. You can't even see it because it's for setting, I don't know what, probably the date or something. But anyway, those are this week's three tiers, and I guess you could call it really three ranges within each tier. And of course, I would be very much interested in hearing what you have to say. And it's an opportunity to subscribe if you like. Until next time, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection.